Good morning, my friends, and welcome to Monday Morning Meditation. My name is Kathleen Osmond. Today's practice gives us an opportunity to begin to investigate those sticky, negative emotions. All of us have developed, shall we say, habits in dealing with those uncomfortable emotions that we don't like for whatever reason. Some of us run away, that is. Some of us get angry. Some of us get irritated. Some of us get sad. Let's take the next few moments to explore the way that those emotions physically manifest in our bodies. Requires a little bit of acceptance here. We'll start with the little tiny guys and work our way up to bigger ones. But grab yourself a bolster or a mat or a quiet spot where you're undisturbed and come and join me for Monday morning meditation. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to morning meditation. Let's make sure that we have ourselves a comfortable position, maybe away from the hustle and bustle of the day, of the hubbub of your home, community, wherever you may be right now. Find a spot where you can just sit comfortably. I forgot my blankie, so hang on. For me, it's my blanket that helps me feel comfy. I have a sweater today, it's a little chilly in here. So let's get ourselves settled. Finding that comfy spot. Little bit of a back and forth movement on the sit bones until you feel that just right spot. And for the moment, we'll drop the hands into the lap. Maybe they're crossed, maybe they're not. Whatever's comfortable for you. And let's roll the shoulders up to the ears. Squeeze the shoulder blades together as they roll down the back. Up, squeeze, release, and one last time. Up, squeeze, and let them down. Beautiful. Maybe a couple of neck rolls. Let's drop right ear to right shoulder. Inhaling across the back and exhaling across the front. Option to keep your eyes closed and just enjoy the experience of the slow, gentle circling of the head around the shoulders. Rest of the body is nice and tall, shoulders over hips. Let's go one more time in this direction. And then we'll reverse. Opposite direction, going towards, for me, towards the left. For you, whichever direction you started with, we're going the opposite way. Now, our topic today for meditation as we continue to rotate is dealing with difficult emotions. I thought it was an interesting concept to talk a little bit about and maybe explore today as we come back to sit tall, settling that head right in the middle between the shoulders. Let's keep the eyes closed and we'll take a deep breath in together, filling the belly with air like a balloon. And exhale. Beautiful. Now turn your focus to the breath and just follow your own individual and perfect, I might add, inhales and exhales. Following that air in through the nose, down towards the extremities of the body, and then back up and out. And I'm going to talk a little bit about today's meditation. Over our weeks together thus far, we've been discovering, investigating, attempting, and mastering different meditation practices. Sometimes concentrating on breath, sometimes on an object or an anchor, and sometimes using our own body as the anchor. Experimenting with our sense of space, both inside the body and outside our physical body. exploring metacognition, which, as we all know, is the practice of being aware of being aware, along with improving our ability to hold our awareness within the present moment. Now, over the next few weeks, we'll delve into some practices to work through difficult emotions. Most times, we find it almost easy to observe ourselves when we like what we see. Usually, it's not difficult to remain with our own emotions when they're happy, full of joy, confident, loving, and kind. I'm sure we can all agree it's a little bit harder to stay present when they don't feel so good. I've lost my spot, hang on. There we go. Within ourselves, I'm sure we can all agree it's harder to stay present within ourselves when what we see we don't particularly like. Oftentimes, we might turn away when we encounter unpleasant or frightening emotions, finding ourselves stuck in those habitual and cyclical patterns of reacting and avoiding, my two highest paid positions that I probably should not admit to you that I have, but I have a tough time with that myself. So this for me is a big one, and I'm thinking it might be for some of you as well. Reactions are different for all of us, but habitual nonetheless. Perhaps our reaction to negativity or difficult emotions is irritation, avoidance. Overeating is always a possibility, and overworking a huge possibility. I can go on and on with addictive behaviors that help us numb and avoid that unsettling emotion, the reality of it, to get away from it. Some of us may even lash out with perhaps hurtful or oftentimes unhelpful words. When we try and live mindfully and we use our meditation and mindfulness techniques, they teach us that we don't need to avoid or repress any part of our life experiences, no matter how painful, unpleasant, frightening, or distressing they may be. We're simply going to be aware. Just like on a stormy day, when we look out from the comfort of our home, out the window at the teeming rain, the crackle and crash of lightning, the thunder, our awareness doesn't become those things. We are seated in the comfort of our home and just noticing what's happening. It's also not tainted or changed by them. Our awareness simply accepts the current situation as it is, wisely, waiting in the comfort of our home for the storm to pass. All these wonderful tools of meditation we've been developing allow us to look more closely at our life experience. Think about that for a moment. Observing the rising and passing of our emotions, the wisdom to know that all things are temporary or transient, if that word suits. Not understanding the principles of meditation could mean that when we turn to face our emotional sufferings, things seem so much worse than they are. Imagining that it could be truly terrifying to face up to that craziness or that rage or that deep down desire to just get away. As I said, over the next few weeks, we'll take a closer look at emotional suffering and meditation. We'll attempt to put aside our typical reactions and try instead to practice that metacognition concept, just being aware and being aware of how that feels within our bodies on a physical level. This could be challenging for some of us, especially the fixers and the problem solvers among us. Think of it more as an invitation to experiment with a new and powerful tool to cope with our everyday life. Problems can often be solved, however, emotions not so much. Most times emotions are felt, and of course, when we feel them, we're acknowledging them. Another thing to think about for a moment, inhabiting them and letting go of the need to fix or solve them. This is going to be the challenge. We'll work to acknowledge and accept their presence, and through meditation we're using a gentle touch that could help them change of their own accord. That's why we're here. We're not determined and set to change, alter, or mask those emotions. Instead, I'm going to ask you to sit and experience them. Experience life and all things it brings. Dancing with both the darkness and the light. As mindful meditators, we not only survive but thrive on negative emotions because we cultivate an attitude of hospitality towards those pesky buggers. This means that we welcome everything and resist nothing. We accommodate graciously and then let it go just as graciously. As a most gracious host of our emotions, we attend to each and every visitor. No one gets turned away at the door, folks. All is kept in perspective. Accepting each visitor without becoming overly invested in them. One way to apply this hospitality to those unpleasant emotions is to recognize them, literally greeting them. Once we become aware of their presence, perhaps even saying aloud or silently to ourselves, "Oh, hello there, insecurity," or "Hi there, boredom, it's you." This practice of greeting brings our awareness into the present moment, lending us that little degree of space, allowing us to avoid the proverbial emotional storm. We're awakening the witness that we explored earlier in our practice, in one of our previous times together. And in that brief moment, we're not only experiencing, but witnessing ourselves experiencing the emotion. Also, it serves as a reminder that, like all visitors, this guest is not moving in, right? Suitcases will be packed and it will be on its way again, right? Remember that. And our practice today is turning towards and tuning in. We're going to use difficult emotions as the anchor, as that part that we just latch onto for a moment and then let go, to being in the present moment. It's going to guide us to stay with the uncomfortable emotions and supports us as we explore them intimately. It helps us focus on the way in which these emotions manifest in our bodies, How many of us have actually taken a moment to say, hang on, how am I feeling this? How is this exhibiting itself in my physical form? We'll need to bring some challenging emotions in mind here. And it's best to start with a lightweight opponent, if you catch my meaning. Don't begin with heavy emotions or serious trauma. Let's start light and move up the weight classes until we perfect how we can work through it. Focus instead on a milder experience, perhaps of irritation, sadness, or any emotion you might wish to work with. I just caution you, don't go for the big guns to start, okay? So let's begin. It goes without saying we should set aside some time where we can be alone and undisturbed. Finding that position as we have that we're comfortable but still provides that sense of wakefulness. I will say again, if you wish to lie down, that's perfectly fine. For myself, it's not a viable option because I find I relax too much. But if that's what's comfortable for you, feel free. My preferred position for meditation is to sit the Kundalini way, nice and tall. Doesn't mean that that necessarily needs to work for you. You find that spot. Maybe it's a chair. Maybe it's the floor or a mat. Maybe it's just a quiet corner. Maybe you have a special cushion. Wherever that space is where you can be undisturbed, let's find that spot. Once we've found the position that's comfortable, but we're still awake. You know what I also forgot to mention? If standing works for you, go guns. Whatever it is that makes you feel that sense of comfort, yet being awake and away. Let's together bring our awareness back to the breath. We'll enjoy 3 deep and full breaths together. Let's fill the abdomen on the inhale and feel the entire body soften on the exhale. Do that with me again. Deep breath in and softening on the exhale. Feeling those shoulders fall away from the ears and settling in. One last breath in and out. Now let's allow that breath to settle into its natural rhythm. And let's bring our mind now to our senses. Let's spend 10 seconds on each one of our senses. With our eyes closed, looking behind closed eyes, is there something that we see there? Now let's move to the ears. What is it that we hear around us? Eyes are still closed. Are there any tastes inside your mouth? And what about smells that may come across your nose? Now, if we hear, see, taste, or the last one that we'll go through now, what are you feeling under your tush, maybe where you sit, or under your feet where you stand? And if we don't feel anything, even the touch of the clothes on the body, that's okay. That's our experience. We've been through this before, so you guys are professionals with this. Now I invite you to bring an unpleasant emotion to mind. Allow it to come to the center of your mind's stage. And let's allow our awareness to investigate how this feeling is manifesting in your physical body. When you feel that particular emotion, can you find physical signs of it? Does it rest in one part of your body? Or perhaps you feel it in more than one part? Perhaps heat on the face, tightness in your chest, if there's anger we're experiencing, or anxiety. There could be all kinds. These are just suggestions to help you move yourself towards identifying. Maybe a sense of heaviness in your stomach. Intentionally move your attention to where you feel the strongest. Whatever that sensation is, where you feel it the strongest, move your attention there. And now let's move our breath to that area, allowing each inhale to wash in and out through that spot where you're feeling that strongest physical sensation. Turn towards it and tune into it. As we continue to breathe in and out of that spot, does it have a temperature? Is it moving or staying still? Perhaps it feels dense, or maybe it feels diluted, very flowy. There's no invitation here to think about the sensation necessarily. Instead, let's just feel it without judgment. Remember, we're not trying to change the experience. We're just staying with it for a moment or two. With our experience as it is. If it's helpful to feel free to say to ourselves, it's okay to feel this emotion. A lot of us, including myself, just go to our chosen, what's the word I'm looking for? Our chosen safety net. No, not going there. So for me, it's quite comfortable to say it's okay to feel this. I need to give myself that extra sense of permission. Maybe not for you, and that's okay. It's just for me. Notice if there's any resistance to staying with it or with your experience of it. Do you perhaps feel the urge to fix it or avoid it? Take a moment to notice this too, or whatever comes up for you. See if you're able to apply mindfulness to the experience, and also that open-hearted curiosity to that resistance itself. Noticing whether a storyline about this particular emotion appears. If that's the case, that's okay. We're just noticing these thoughts for what they are. Thoughts. Let go of the storyline and return your focus to your awareness of the area where you were drawn in your body, where the emotion is physically strongest. Whenever we feel ourselves floating away, we gently say, back we come to that area. Let's turn towards that strongest point. Feel it toward it with loving acceptance and stay with the bodily sensations of the emotions, letting them be. A sense of acceptance here. We're softening this the littlest bit towards them and saying a silent yes. This signifies that we're allowing them to be just where they are, and we are just as we are. Another way to allow them space is to imagine that the edges of the sensation are softening and merging or blending with your entire body. This allows them to be present and allows them to take up space and being. And we attempt to embrace them with loving acceptance. Now take a few breaths and notice what happens without judgment as you say that silent yes. Imagine the edges dissolving and allowing them to just exist as part of your being. If you're finding success with this process, you may want to repeat it with another area of the body that holds that same sensation that you were working through. Now, as we end our meditation today, let's return our awareness back to the breath, refocusing solely on the inhales and exhales. Being aware of the in and the out flow of the breath. And slowly, let's expand that awareness to the room around you. The sounds, the scents, the feeling of your body against your clothes, your tush against the mat, bolster or seat of the chair. A gentle wiggle of fingers and toes. Drop the chin towards the chest. And when you're ready, open your eyes and raise your head. Hoping that we had a successful exploration of some of the smaller, difficult emotions. And as we continue to practice this, and evolve it, we can get into some of those really deep, darker ones. I want to extend my weekly invitation to you all to take some time this week. Take some time for you. A walk with breath, a break from the screen. Take a moment to just breathe. It's so important, self-care. And it's so important for you to look after you, not just everyone else. Because we know you're awesome good at that. So let's make sure you're awesome good at looking after yourself. Take that moment, sit in the quiet place. Find new ways to experience chores. This is my new favorite thing to do, regardless of what I'm doing. I'm opening my senses to that particular aspect. I had a very interesting experience driving the other day. It's so interesting when you open all four senses to something that you just over and over and over and over and over and over and over again without thinking. Brings you to that present moment. Give it a shot. Now, let's close our meditation today. Bringing our hands to heart center, a little bit of a rub and we'll settle them in. Deep breath in. Fill the lungs with fresh energy, fresh prana. And exhale. Relaxing. Namaste, my friends. I offer you peace. I offer you love. I offer you friendship. I see your beauty and I hear your need. I feel your feelings. My wisdom flows from the highest source and I salute that source in you. Let's work together for unity and love. Thank you, Mahatma Gandhi. Thanks so much, my friends, for joining me for Monday morning meditation. I hope you had a successful few moments exploring some of the lighter, uncomfortable feelings that you may experience or emotions. This was a toughie for me, I'm not gonna lie. I have for many years run, and I mean run really fast away from that which is uncomfortable. So I found it a little bit uplifting to start with the tiniest section of that, to start to dig away at that and be mindful at the same time. I'm very hopeful that you had a positive result yourself. If so, leave me a comment below. Let me know how it worked for you. I'd be so grateful to hear from you. Please take a moment to like the video, hit the bell, and be subscribed. I'm trying to release a new video each week. Please also take a moment to check out our Facebook group below. It's a community of people that come together to share health and wellness initiatives. At this present moment and over the COVID experience, myself and a number of awesome teachers have been offering free content to those who are a part of the group. All you need to do is request to be added, answer the questions, and you're in, with all kinds of free content for you to check out. So take a moment, check it out. And I hope to see you back here again next Monday for another Monday morning meditation. My name is Kathleen Osmond. Namaste.